it works both ways, and there's agreements in place that have been in place for several years. I fully agree with the recycling. That's been in the back of my mind for a very long time. But there's absolutely no reason we can't work together to recycle.
Thank you. Mickey?
Well, I'm not familiar with the recycling projects, so I won't speak about that, but I am familiar, just as Elaine is, about the cooperation that exists between Fulton and South Fulton, and also between Fulton and other agencies. But we've always had, as long as I've been in the city of Fulton, we've always had, I thought, a good relationship with the city of South Fulton, not only with the police and the fire department, but Public Works. If anybody needed any help, they were always available to help each other, especially when the creeks get out, things like that. We never had any problem. I'm not aware of any kind of problem we're having with the city of South Fulton or them with us when it comes to working together. Once upon a time, we had our animal control officer who served both sides of Fulton, which was, I thought, was a good situation. We had a pound available, and they paid half the salary. We paid half the salary. It worked out pretty good. I don't know what happened with that, but it was a good agreement. And as mayor, I had no problem working with South Fulton. I continue to do so just as we do now, and I'm open for any new ideas of any further relationships we have to work together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And moving on to question number 4. The order now goes to Mickey, Elaine, and Dan. Mickey, the question is, what are your thoughts on various taxations for city revenue as opposed to or in conjunction with cost savings in city expenses?
Well, I've always said, even when I was serving as a city commissioner, that we're a small town, yet even though we're a small town, we still have to provide certain services, and there's a cost to that. But because a lot of the people who live in our town are on fixed incomes, it's hard for them to be able to afford to pay more for utilities, pay more for garbage special pickup, or more on an ambulance fee every month. So I understand those things. But I, just as a private citizen, and also with the knowledge that I've gained from the past 30 years, know that there is areas in the city where money could be saved. I know that the department heads may not like it, but by working together with them, we could save the city money. I've said we need to spend money on infrastructure, especially in East Fulton with slip line and the sewer system over there. And we started it once, and I don't know what happened, but evidently it stopped. But if you look around, just look at our town and look how much money we have tied up for nice things that departments have that they don't necessarily have to have. It's nice that they have them, but it puts a burden on the city when you buy things that you shouldn't buy. You need to wait until we do build up industry and commercial businesses and stuff to where more money does roll in. But I am not in favor of raising garbage rates, water rates, and sewage rates just because we want to give them more things and put heavier burdens on the city of Fulton.
Thank you very much.
I think it all comes down to which service do you not want to have. You know, we try to provide a lot of services for our residents. If it gets to where we can't do that, then what service do you not want? Yeah, we went up on the ambulance service. Everybody wants an ambulance service. And that was not something we wanted to do, but with what the ambulance board suggested, that's what we had to do. A city cannot operate in the red. It has to be in the black, or the state's going to take you over. But cost cutting is not a problem when it needs to be done, and I'm there to do it. And yes, I voted for some increases in the water rates, but the taxes in the city have not been raised in many years. Property taxes have not been raised. So I'm willing to listen to anything to help conserve, and I'm always there. Thank you.
Dan?
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the question. This is one that's really comes near and dear to me. I started attending city commission meetings, I think in the month of March this year, right after Jeff wasn't named mayor for some reason. That's when I started going to see what was going on. But let me tell you, if you go to city commission meetings, you find it to be a very interesting experience because very few questions are asked. Whenever items are proposed for expenditure, there are no questions asked about, do we have to have this? Is there a way to do it more efficiently? Is there some other way we can do this? It's just passed. It's just passed. When they passed the budget this year, there was an assumed 5% increase put in for water and sewer rates. You know, when it came before the commission, there were no questions asked. Matter of fact, somebody from the audience even said how much revenue is going to be generated by that, and there wasn't an answer. Around the city commission table, there was not an answer from the city treasurer. Nobody had an answer. After a few minutes, the treasurer came up with a guesstimate and what she thought what the figure was going to be. Well, you know, I disagree that we need to ask what services can we do without. I think we need to ask the questions about how can we do things more efficiently than we're doing them right now. Is there not some better way we can provide services for the city of Fulton and at the same time not have to increase revenue? You know, we can say taxes haven't been increased, but the truth is that we have very hefty occupational tax increases going on right now. I talked to a fellow the other day who's occupied, this is a small one-man shop. His occupational license went up from $50 last year to $600 this year. Now you can say there's no tax increase if you want to, but that sounds pretty significant to me. By the time you apply that to every business across the city, we're talking about a lot of money. So I think it is time to ask questions that are not being asked currently. I'd like to leave those questions at the commission table.
Thank you. Moving on to question number 5. The order is now Dan, Mickey, then Elaine. This has been touched on in some regards, but the question directly is population is declining and housing values are declining. How will you help reverse this?
That's a great question. Thank you. I tried to touch on that a little earlier. Population has declined. When I was on the commission in the 70s, there were about 3,250 people in Fulton. We've lost not quite, but close to a third of our population in the 30 years since that time. And if you look around at all the empty lots that are in Fulton, that's a very troubling thing. I hear feedback somewhere. I'm not sure where it's coming from. The first thing we need to do is to make Fulton an easier place for people to live in. We need to make it as economical as we possibly can so that people can afford to pay their bills and they're not chased off by unreasonable taxes and utility rates and other charges. We need to do everything we can to clean this city up so it will be attractive to people. If you drive down the streets of town, we see lots and lots of grass growing up in the cracks in the streets. You know, that's just, and what that does is then the people who are living on that same street right adjacent to that lose interest in taking care of their own property. So I think we need to clean up the entire community, and I think we start that by working on city property and working out from that point on. Because I think once residents see that the city is taking pride in its property, then they may begin to take pride themselves. And I think as we do those things, then Fulton will once again become the attractive place to live that becomes a vibrant, active, interesting community that it used to be, and then we'll attract people, and that will in turn turn around property value declines. Thank you.
Mickey, same question.
Read that question again.
Okay, certainly. Population is declining and housing values are declining. How will you help to reverse this, and how long will it take?
Well, that's a good question, and I don't have the answer to it, but I'll be honest with you. People move out of town for many, many reasons. Some people die, and some people own houses here that don't even live here. They rent them out, and then some notion they don't want to spend any money and fix them up, and then the house is set vacant. So population, not only in Fulton, but Fulton County has been going down for years. But I agree with Dan that we need to make it where people can afford to live here. But if the cities took a look around at different areas at what the cost is on utilities and comparable size cities, and yet we're still below a lot of them, and even some of the state people tells us, for example, we need to raise some rates. But we know that the people just can't afford it, so we don't want to do that. But keeping the town looking good, industry comes in, even if it comes into one of the other industrial areas like Mayfield or somewhere like that, or in Clinton, people's got to have a place to live. Industry will afford us residents regardless of where it's put in Hickman or Fulton or Clinton, anywhere close, people drive and work. Fulton will build up if we can get industry back in here. A lot of people who left over losing their jobs when these factories packed up and left here to go somewhere else. And that's really what's hurt the city of Fulton. But yes, I agree that we need to make it look presentable and for people to want to move here. But we have a lot of good contributing factors, good churches, good schools, other factors to draw people.